getting this work to publication. I'd also like to thank Gerald Morgan and David Conklin of Conklin Creative. When I finally decided, yes, I have a manuscript, and yes, I'm ready to do this, I took it to David and Gerald because they had worked with us before in producing the beautiful book that we did for Aurora Harris. Some of you are familiar with that book. So I went back to them and they gave me the best advice in terms of how to proceed. So let's get to the poems. Thanks to everyone who's helped me get to this point. Is that Malik? Malik? Malik had said, I can't be there, I'll be out of town. Okay, so that first set of poems, I hoped it would be something like a prayer and an expression of gratitude to those who made it possible for us to be here at this moment, that it would help sort of open our hearts to this moment. And the next set of poems I'd like to read for you have to do with our relationship to nature. I entitled this section, We and Nature, No Separation, All One. When we take the time to be quiet and reflecting, we can sense that we, human beings, are inextricably linked to, interwoven with the natural environment, with Mother Earth. And I think it's our having experienced a break with that reality as a result of what happens in Western so-called civilization. A civilization that encourages us to see ourselves as separate from, in control of, dominating nature. So these poems are about recovering or retrieving or sensing that relationship again. When we do that, when we take those really quiet moments, there's a kind of bliss that happens in that union. And I wanted you to, I hope you will feel some of that evoked in these poems. I think it's really important to think more now about our unity with nature, given the disasters we've been witnessing and that have been brought on by our callousness and disregard, right, of nature, violations of nature. So we want to think about and send our prayers to all those who are suffering, the victims of these disasters, and we want to do what we can in terms of supporting relief efforts as well. But let's remember, we and nature are one, no separation. So the first poem is entitled Fall. It's about this season that we are entering now. I'd like to start out with that one. Fall. You are drying and dying, withdrawing into winter, but splendid in the morning sun, unveiling colors of curry, red pepper and ginger. And the river salutes you in its quiet blue, and vanishing grass shrugs, no longer striving. And the clouds, all gray and white, floating clumps of cotton, stretch and smile. Fall, autumn, you are between time. You are passage into the earth. You are closing of eyes. You are hush. You are waiting. You are salve for summer's sunburns. The slow mending of wounds. You are winter's orange-suited usher, ablaze as you yield to the inevitable, as you succumb to the great cycle. Fall. Thank you. Next poem, New Year's morning, on another season. New Year's morning. Do not despair in the coldest winter, when green strains to wake beneath the frozen white. The earth's heart hums through it all, warm. The ice will yield to the hearth at the core. Turn your heartbeat. Feel the persistent pulse. Trust that spring will come. This next poem, River Mine. Here I was trying to evoke that bliss when you really sense yourself in connection with the natural environment, River Mine. And it was inspired by looking out from the balcony where I lived down by the river and enjoying the expansive river out in front. Here it is, River Mine. River Mine, gray, blue light shining just beyond the abandoned park and the persevering trees. Balm for our eyes, endless tincture for our souls. River Mine, night and morning company, come inside. Let Segovia serenade you too. My river, River Mine, rush past the green witnesses on the shore, past the crumbling stone fences' silence. Flood my balcony, enter through my sliding doors. My home belongs to you, River Mine. River Mine, you and I and all and everything, one holy embrace. My river, River Mine. The next set of poems, they come from a section in the book called Praise Songs and Remembrances, in which I celebrate the contributions, heroism, artistic brilliance of many of our African Americans. Not all here in this country, I shouldn't say African Americans, because Nelson Mandela is one of the individuals about whom I write. But tonight, I am taking from that section in the book poems that celebrate heroes right here in Detroit, who have lived right here in Detroit and made phenomenal contributions to our lives right here in Detroit. And I'd like us to think about occupying a space or a moment between the ancestors that we're going to be celebrating, those who've gone before, and those young griots, artists, activists, innovators, geniuses who are already working and moving us towards a higher humanity, and who will be the leaders of the future. And so I'd like to dedicate these poems to the ancestors, to our young griots, and I'd just like to call their name in recognition of the wonderful work that they're doing now. Will Copeland, Bryce Detroit, E. Anthony, Halima Cassells, Tawana Petty, Cecilia Sharp, Antonio Cosme, Shane Bernardo, Invincible, Adam Harris, Ai Muhammad, my son Heru House is here tonight, many other young innovators. These poems are for you tonight. First one I'd like to read is dedicated to Dr. Grace Lee Boggs. You know Dr. Grace. So Grace was a cherished mentor to me and many, many activists of my generation. She passed away 2 years ago at 100 years old. All of her adult life was committed to radical and revolutionary thought and action. She lived right there on the east side with her husband, James Boggs, Jimmy, we call him, on Field and Gotha. Only in Detroit would give and become Gotha, but that's what it is. So, and she spent more than half of her life, though she was Chinese American, spent more than half of her life providing leadership and mentorship in the African American community right here.